Stećak is the name for monumental medieval tombstones that lie scattered across Bosnia and Herzegovina and the border parts of Croatia, Montenegro and Serbia, although almost exclusively following the borders of the medieval Bosnian Kingdom. An estimated 60,000 are found within the borders of modern Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the rest of 10,000 are found in what are today Croatia, Montenegro, and Serbia, at more than 3,300 odd sites, with over 90% in poor condition, appearing in the mid-12th century, with the first phase in the 13th century. The tombstones reached the peak in the 14th and 15th century, before disappearing during the Ottoman occupation in the very early 16th century. They were a common tradition amongst Bosnian Church, Catholic, Orthodox Church, and, some argue, the followers of Bogomilism as well. By the scholars are mostly related to the autochthonous Vlachian population. The epitaphs on them are mostly written in extinct Bosnian Cyrillic alphabet. The one of largest collection of these tombstones is named Radomlje, west of Stećak in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Stećak was inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2016. It includes 30 necropolis, of which 22 from Bosnia and Herzegovina, 2 from Croatia, 3 from Montenegro, and 3 from Serbia. Etymology. The word itself is a contracted form of the older word Stećak, which is derived from the South Slavic verb stajati. It literally means the tall, standing thing, sometime also called as masati, mramoravi. Usogenic. On the Stećak inscriptions they are called as Bilig, Carmen, Bilig, Cam, Carmen, Hram, Zilaman, Kuka, Raka, Greb, Grob. Although in Bosnia and Herzegovina under the name Stećak among the people meant high monolithic standing stones. In 20th century the word Stećak was accepted in science as general term, including for plate gravestones. Characteristics. They are characteristic for the territory of present-day Herzegovina, central Bosnia, Podrinja and Dalmatia, and some minor parts of Montenegro, Kosovo and western Serbia, Posavina and northwestern Bosnia. Stećaks are described as stone, monolithic, horizontal and vertical tombstones, prismatic shape with flat or gable-top surface, with or without pedestal. The chronology established by Marian Wenzel considers Stećaks developed from the plate headstones, with the oldest from 1220. Monumental emerged somewhere in 1360, those with visual representations around 1435 to 1477, and the total production of Stećaks ended in 1505. Stećaks in the form of chest and ridge, saddle roof do not appear before the middle of the end of the 14th century, while the remaining two basic forms, the upright pole and cross, no more than half of the 15th century. In the latter, upright forms can be seen influence of the Nisanj, the upright monolithic stones on top of the Muslim graves, which emerge already in the end of 14th century in conquered parts of Macedonia and Serbia. The majority of Stećaks are not or are very simply decorated. In the example of Bosnia and Herzegovina, according to UNESCO, there's about 40,000 chests, 13,000 slabs, 5,500 gabled tombstones, 2,500 pillars, obelisks, 300 cruciform tombstones, and about 300 tombstones of indeterminate shape have been identified. Of these, more than 5,000 bear carved decorations. The initial stage of Stećaks developing, which included simple recumbent plates or slabs, isn't specific for the region, yet it is of broad West Mediterranean origin, and as such the term Stećak is misleading for all tombstone forms. The slabs type of burial was a typical kind of burial of the West Mediterranean world in the 14th–15th century, but which had special method of production and ornamentation in the Balkan, customized according to the stonemasonry skills and microenvironment. A fraction of Stećaks bear inscriptions, mostly in extinct Bosnian Cyrillic, some in Glagolitic and Latin script. They are mostly brazen reminders of wisdom and mortality, relay a dread of death, more anxiety than peace. Their most remarkable feature is the decorative motifs, many of which remain enigmatic to this day: spirals, arcades, rosettes, vine leaves and grapes, lilium, stars and crescent moons are among the images that appear. Figural motifs include processions of deer, horse, dancing the kolo, hunting, chivalric tournaments, and, most famously, the image of the man with his right hand raised, perhaps in a gesture of fealty. A series of visual representations on the tombstones cannot be simplistically interpreted as real scenes from the life. The shield on the tombstones, usually with the crossbar, crescent and star, cannot be coat of arms. Neither the lilium, which is stylized, is used in the heraldic sense. On one Stećak is displayed tied leopard and above him winged dragon. Already in 1979, historian Hadžić noted that the horsemen are not riding with reins, yet the hands are free and pointed to the sky, implying possible cult significance. In 1985, Mayor Miletic noted the symbolic and religious character of the Stećak scenes. All the life scenes are considered to be part of ceremonial. Several scholars concluded that the motifs show the continuity of old Balkan pre-Christian symbolism from the autochthonous Illyrian tribes and prehistoric time. Benick noted that the displays of soul horse with snake, as well soul deer with bird, symbolize the soul of the deceased going to otherworld, which representations are resembling to those found on Iapydes artifacts. The Illyrian god Medorus is described as riding on horseback and carrying a lance. Of the all animals, deer is the most represented, and mostly is found on Stećaks in Herzegovina. According to Dragoslav Srejović, spread of Christianity didn't cause disappearance of old cult and belief in sacred deer. Historian Šefik Bislagic synthesized the representations of deer, sometime accompanied by a bird, cross a lilium, frequently are shown series of deer a doe, as well with a bow and arrow, dog and hunter with a spear or sword. It is displayed in hunting scenes, as well some kolo processions which are led by a man who is riding a deer. The scenes where deers calmly approach the hunter, or deers with enormous size and sparse horns. Most of the depictions of deer hunting on the Stećaks are facing the west, which had a symbolic meaning for death and other world. In the numerous hunting scenes of Stećaks, in only one deer is wounded, indicating unrealistic meaning. In the Roman and Parthian Sasanian art, hunted animals are mortally wounded, and deer is only one of many, while on Stećaks is the only hunted animal. The motifs of kolo procession along a deer, and its specific direction of dancing, although not always easily identifiable, show its immortal dance compared to cheerful dance. From Iapydes urns up to present-day women in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Montenegro. Remorseful dances are played in the western direction toward sunset. In eastern Bosnia and Herzegovina is called Jeljenovo kolo, with Jeljen local name for Jelen implying Jelenovo kolo, is danced by making the gait of the raised hand, and ringleader of these gaits tries to pull all kolo dances through them until the kolo is entangled. After that, playing in the opposite direction until the kolo is unraveled. Its origin is in mortuary ritual, guiding the soul to another world and the meaning of renewal of life. The vast regional, but scarce in graveyard distribution, mostly in the center of some notable position of cross-type Stećaks, and there are almost exclusively ornament of the crescent moon and stars, indicates cemetery label for specific religious affiliation. decoration according to the archaeologist Ante Milosevic. The symbolism of the moon and stars, which are often found on Stećaks, could be traced to Mithraism, which had old Mazdacism belief that the dead body goes to the moon, while souls to the sun. They were carved by Kovac Klazar, while the inscriptions, probably as a template, were compiled by Stećak Pizar, both most possibly introduced with archaic symbolism. Stećaks in Bosnia and Herzegovina can be divided on two: stonemasonry school, Herzegovian, and East Bosnian. Local characteristic of Stećaks in the territory around Cetina River is the rare ornateness, of which only 8 to 10% have simple decoration. Those from Upper Cetina are smaller in by type and style, relate to those from Nin and Livno, while those from Mid-Cetina are more monumental. Specific plate Stećaks were found in village Bitlik, which are decorated with identical geometric ornament, not found in Dalmatia or Bosnia and Herzegovina. However, by the nature of ornament and surface treatment is considered possible connection with several monuments near Church of St. Peter in Nikšić, Montenegro. History and origin. There are different and still inconclusive theories on the religious and ethnic affiliation of the Stećaks. Since the mid-19th century, many historians, including Alexander Soloviev, Aloj Benik, Nada Miletic and Šefik Bislagic, have argued that the Stećaks were related to the origin of the Bosnian Church, i.e. Bogomils or other Jewist groups. Others have asserted that the church was actually founded by Franciscan monks from the Catholic Church. However, Benik noted that Stećaks were not built in First Bulgarian Empire, and that in central Bosnia, where were centers of Bosnian Kingdom and Church, is smaller Stećaks concentration, as well higher number of Stećaks of poor design, but also older date. Whatever the Bosnian Church origin, Marian Wenzel, the world's once leading authority on the art and artifacts of medieval Bosnia and Herzegovina, concluded that the Stećaks tombstones were a common tradition amongst Catholic, Orthodox and Bosnian Church followers alike. Wenzel's conclusion supported other historians' claims that the Stećaks reflect a regional cultural phenomenon rather than belonging to a particular religious faith. Christian Gottlob Wilker sought origins of the symbolic motifs in the old Mediterranean spiritually and religious concepts. Thoreau Basler in the artistic expression saw some parallels in late Romanesque art, while in symbolic motifs three components: pre-Christian, Christian and Manichaean. The ethnic identity of the Stećaks has not yet been fully clarified. Until now, the most dominant, but still not fully accepted, theory relates them with the autochthonous Vlachian communities in the Balkan. Some other scholars proposed unconvincing and rejected theories. Dominic Mandic considered them to be part of the ritual of burial by the pagan Croats from the Red Croatia, while Vladislav Skaric considered they have represented Old Slavic eternal home, and that initially were built from wood. Vladimir Korovich pointed out that the Old Slavs have not used monoliths or larger blocks of stone to make their apartments, let alone for the grave signs, even less for the writing or decorations. The autochthonous Vlachian theory was proposed by Bogomil Rabic and Marian Wenzel, and more recently was supported by the archaeological and anthropological researchers of skeleton remains from the graves under Stećaks. However, the theory is much older and was first proposed by Arthur Evans in his work Antiquarian Researches in Illyricum, while doing research with Felix von Luschen on Stećak graves around Konoval found out that the large number of skulls weren't of Slavic origin yet. similar to older Illyrian and Arbanasi tribes. As well noted that Dubrovnik memorials recorded those parts to be inhabited by the Vlachs until 15th century. Rabic was the first scholar to connect the historical documents and the relation to the persons mentioned on rare inscriptions on the Stećaks. In 1953 concluded that the smith stonemason Grubak from Belgian necropolis near Starlac built Stećak of Bogovac Tarabolinovic not later than 1477, and that most of the monuments of Herzegovinian Vlachs, and not only Herzegovian and not only Vlachs, could be dated to the second half of the 15th century. Wenzel, in one of her studies, researched 16 Stećaks with similar dating and historically known persons. She noted the possibility that initially the stone monuments as such could have been introduced by the feudal nobility in the mid-14th century, which tradition was embraced by the Vlach tribes who introduced figural decoration. The termination of the Stećaks production Wenzel related to the Ottoman invasion and new social circumstances, with the transition of Vlachs and Near-Slavs to Islam resulting with loss of tribal organization and characteristics of specific ethnic identity. Bennett concluded that the distribution of the Stećaks in the lands right of the Cetina River coast in the parts of Dalmatian Zagora, while their absence in the lands left of the river, show these tombstones in those parts belonged to the Vlachian communities. The triangle between Srbenik, Trogir and Nin, as well surroundings of the Arlika and Trilj, which were the main centers of Vlachs, have the most number of Stećaks in Dalmatia. In 1982, Bennett noted that the highest concentration of Stećaks is in South Herzegovina, where was high concentration of Vlachian population. Some of the Stećaks inscriptions clearly relates to some Vlachian chieftains, Taraboljunovic from Belgian Starlac, the Vukose Vlachovic from Vlahovici Lubania, Rebrenian Miloradovic in Radimlju Starlac, and to such chieftains belong finest Stećaks. The occurrence of Stećaks in the Cetina county is related to the Neolithic noble family efforts to return economic and political power to whom was confiscated Nin in 1345 by King Louis I of Hungary in exchange for Sinj and Cetina County. They thrived with the support from the Vlachs, who from the service were rewarded with benefits and common Vlach law. After many conflicts and death of last noble Neolithic, then Ivan Frankopan, Vlachs supported Stepan Vučić Kosaka. The ridge Stećaks of Dalmatian type can be found only in regions of Dalmatia and southwestern Bosnia, parts ruled by the Kosaka noble family. It was in his interest to settle militant and well-organized Vlachs in the most risky part of his realm, to defend from Talarvac forces in Cetina and Venice forces in Poljica and the coast. Thus Dalmatian type is found only west and south of Kosaka capital Imotski, and later also north after fall of Bosnia. Anthropological research in 1982 on skeletons from 108 Stećak graves from Raska Gora near Mostar, as well some from Griborezi near Livno, shown homogeneity of the cereals with clean Dinaric anthropological type, without other admixtures, indicating non-Slavic origin, yet autochthonous Vlachian population. The research of 11 skeletons from necropolis at Pavlovac near Praga, often attributed to the Pavlovich noble family, also shown clean Dinaric type, indicating Vlachian origin, although historical sources don't call Pavlovici as Vlachs. The anthropological research in 1991 on the 40 skeletons from 28 burials beneath Stećaks at Plateau Poljanis near the village of Bisko showed that the vast majority of the population belonged to the autochthonous Dinaric type, concluding they were anthropologically of non-Slavic origin. 21 skeleton belonged to child burial, while of 19 adult burials 13 belonged to males. The quarry for Stećaks was found in the northwestern part of the plateau, with one ridge as semi-finished work without any ornament. This logic asserted that the Vlachs and others who have raised and decorated Stećaks were not completely Christianized is confirmed with the old custom of parting attachments with the dead, with many artifacts made of metals, textiles, ceramics and skin, coins, earrings of silver, gilded silver and solid gold which have been found in graves beneath Stećaks. The custom of placing drinking vessel near graves and heads is from antique time. Archaeologically, some Middle-Age burials from Cetina County have local specifics by which Cetina County differs from other parts of Dalmatia. In the county the burials weren't done in the ground without additional stone architecture. Some scholars related this phenomenon to the specific ethnic identity. However, due to still groundbreaking research, for now is considered only regional and narrow local occurrence. Financial possibilities of ordering such expensive ways of burial among Vlachs are supported and confirmed in the historical documents, with an example of Vlach from Cetina Ostojubogovic, who in 1377 paid the cost of burial of Vlach Priboju Papalik for 40 libra. At the time, burial in Split costed 4 to 8 libra, while for a sum of 40 libra could be bought family grave in the Church of Franciscan Order in Sebenik. Notable Stećaks. The oldest Stećak is that of Grdesa, a 12th century Zupan of Trebinia. The medieval Ramoyo necropolis in Serbia, monument of culture of exceptional importance, contains large number of Stećak tombs. Vlatko Vukovic Kosaka's grave lies marked near the village of Boljuni near Stećak, Bosnia and Herzegovina, from late 14th century. The inscription on the grave was written in Bosnian Cyrillic in a Kavian accent. The two ridge Stećaks which belonged to Vlachijako Kustrazic and his wife Vladna from the mid-15th century, in Sistania Imotski and Split, Croatia. The ridge Stećak of Vlk Bogdanic, who died in battle in the mid-15th century, made by Mason Jurina in Lovrek, Croatia. The decorated Stećak from Zagorska near Karkanj in Bosnia and Herzegovina, from 15th century. Although it has no engraved writing, since it was immaculately decorated, it is suggested that it belonged to Ban Stupan II Kotromanic. Some of the best preserved Stećaks can be found in area of Srebrenica municipality. In this place there are around 800 Stećaks. Today many Stećaks are also displayed in the garden of the National Museum of Bosnia and Herzegovina in Sarajevo. Legacy. Alberto Fortes, in the Romanticist spirit of the time, described the tombstones in Cetina as warrior graves of the giants. Since 19th century, Stećaks are seen as a symbol of Bosnia and Herzegovina. However, they were also objects of South Slavic modern ideological ethno-national myths and ownership. Gallery.